Alrighty guys, hello and welcome back to the show. I got a cast coming your way today, solo cast today, because I gotta get something out. I've spent like the last 3 or 4 days fucking around with FAF on Linux. I've tried multiple different distributions, and yeah, one of the distributions I installed it on the computer and it failed on its own updater. So like I tried to update it using the built-in updater and it broke. And as you guys are saying, as I'm saying this, you guys are probably like, wow, the duelist is really mad. And I just want to say, I'm not mad. You guys are mad, but I need to get something out for you guys. So this is the cast that you guys get. You're welcome. If you guys are watching this, then congratulations. You're the consolation prize. Starting off, let's introduce our players. We got Rye Guys in the northern corner. We're gonna call this team 1 at the right, team 2, or team 1 at the left, team 2 on the right. Jesus Christ, I'm out of this. All right, next we got Snoog, who's going as Aeon, opening first land. We got Zum, who's also going Aeon, opening first land. Down to his south, we have Azuros going UEF, opening first land. Ringer for team 1, up at 2,000 rating. And what I would assume is the rearguard air position, we have Caillou, who's going UEF, opening first land. And last but not least, for team number 1, take a breath, we have Nasimka, who's going Cybran, opening first land. Only sensible person on team number 1, might I add. Shift over to team number 2, we have got Thurnis Haley, who's going Cybran, opening first land. Lovely guy, Thurnis. Not just because he's, playing Cybran, but also because, he's helped contribute to the FAF community in a large way through casting and co-casting and a bunch of other stuff. You can check out some of his co-casts, I believe, on Willow's channel. But down here, we've got LaSauce to the south. I'm assuming rearguard air position, also playing as Cybran. To LaSauce's south, we have It's Coming Home, who is in the last cast, ironically, going Seraphim, opening first land, second air, and third air, it looks like. So good on him for being on top of the air game. Next, we've got Signal Runner going first and second air, and I'm guessing maybe it's a support air position back here. I don't know. This is a 7x7 map, and I think whenever you get up to that player count, all the rules kind of go out the window. Next, we got Freshie going Seraphim, opening first land. Hell of a lot of Seraphim on team 2. And last but not least second to last is Nightly going UEF, first, second land, and third air. And then last but not least, we have Dot Kolbasa, who is going UEF, opening land. Already got some skirmishes happening kind of across the map, just some initial lab raids that are happening. Haven't seen any engineers that have died just yet. But on this cast, because it is so big and there's so many players, I'm going to try and stay relatively punched out. So stay at a pretty zoomed out position for the lion's share of this. And yeah, we'll zoom in whenever there's anything super interesting happening. And I'll just kind of call out things on the screen. But Scout coming out from Nightly with a bomber in tow. Does have a little land scout out there that is going to pick up some of the initial land forces that are coming out there from Azuros. Azuros, quite good player. He and I back in the day did a couple of 1v1s. He absolutely annihilated me every single time. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what that does to his resume. Like, oh yeah, I beat the duelist several times in one-on-ones. I don't think that's really a resume booster in the FAF community because everybody can beat me in a one-on-one. But he's quite a good player, and I think we'll see in this game how he does. But I have high hopes for Azuros. Another player to keep an eye on is Thurnis Haley. Thurnis also been a long time member of the community and also quite a good player in his own right, up there at 1900 level rating. So we'll keep an eye on them. And then the other two ultra pros that I would say, or semi pros, I don't know what you would call it. But Nasimka down here in the south, we haven't casted a game from Nasimka in quite some time. But he's been on this channel multiple times. And then we also have It's Coming Home, who we saw last game, who did all sorts of fun stuff. But gun speed and range now coming out from Thurnis Haley up there in the northern part of the map. Does seem to be encroaching a little bit on Rye Guy's territory, trying to take over as many mass points as he can, get himself a good position here in the early stages of the game. Nasimka doesn't, or looks like he is positioning to do kind of a similar thing here on Dot Kolbasa, but has not yet pulled the trigger quite on it just yet. Does have significant amount of land forces down here from a Tech 1 perspective, so should be able to overrun this position from Dot Kolbasa relatively easily. And then down here in the back, we also have a Tech 1 raid that has taken out a lot of Dot Kolbasa's infrastructure, and that's actually come out from Caillou, who I thought was going to be the air player, but has actually been, seems a little bit more involved and has kind of neutered Dot Kolbasa a little bit. Dot Kolbasa now having to commit mass to rebuild his core mexes. His commander is out here hanging on by a thread with Nasimka, a much better player, at least as far as rating goes, bearing down on him. So this is not a position you want to be in. Dot Kolbasa now retreating, as Nasimka is going to take a very similar position here to Thurnis up north and take a lot of these expansion mexes down here on this kind of southern peninsula for himself. Should also be noted that this is water here on the mini-map, and whenever you're zoomed out, it kind of looks like mountains. Well, I mean, I guess not. I kind of thought it looked like mountains whenever I vetted out this replay, but it is water. So you can have Percival's, Bricks, Monkey Lords, you know, stuff like that going through there. And Thurnis now using that gun upgrade in conjunction with Lasauce. Lasauce also making a push with his own commander. Lasauce working with a vanilla comm. Both of them pushing Rye Guys, though, as Rye Guys now retreats with his own commander. Down towards the south, you also see Snoog coming up to help with some T1 units. Snoog's T1 units, though, going to be overrun by Thurnis. Thurnis shifting all of his Tech 1 units over to focus on that, and then leaving his commander up north to deal with Rye Guy's Tech 1 units. So, interesting little split and pincer maneuver. Well, not really a pincer maneuver, but kind of a split that Thurnis is doing, where betting on the fact that Rye Guys does not have gun, which he does not. Thurnis does have gun, so he's able to abuse a lot of the power that is within that gun commander, and then pull all of his Tech 1 units off to the south, deal with all of Snoog's Tech 1 units down here. As Snoog is now trying to go for his own gun upgrade, he's going to be delayed from a comm upgrade standpoint, which means that Thurnis is now in a good position to take over a lot of the northern section here. Down towards the south, Nasimka has fallen back and has given up a lot of this peninsula. We have a massive raid of labs out from Dot Kolbasa. Is Dot Kolbasa just going straight for labs? Okay, no, it looks like now he's gone for Tech 2 upgrade on one of his factories and engineers out of the rest. So I'm not sure. Maybe all these labs were just a response to the artillery raid. But yeah, we got a lot of labs on the screen. And Nasimka going for his own gun speed and range upgrade as we go ahead and zoom back out again. I get Snoog now going for a shield upgrade, as Rye Guy is now going for a damage and range upgrade. So now Thurnis's gun comm is looking quite pitiful in the face of the forces that could be brought to bear against him. Which is a very eloquent way of saying he's fucked if he stays there, which looks like he kind of is staying there. Snoog is starting to advance out. He can go to the water, so he's not entirely fucked, but yeah, he's going to take a little bit of damage on his way to the water. Throw out a couple of overcharges for good measure. Lasauce is in the back line going for his own gun upgrade as well. So, yeah, everybody take a breather. A lot of comm upgrades, a lot of comm on comm action, including in the middle here, where we have Zoom as well as Azuros beating into Freshy's both comm and Tech 1 units. Freshy's not feeling too fresh right now as he's been beating off, or he is currently being beaten off by Azuros right now, but, you know, makes you feel a little dirty instead of being fresh. Tech 2 units, though, out from Nightly. We do have a couple of pillars that are out. We do also have Tech 2 fighter bombers. Those are out from It's Coming Home, going after Azuros' comm, I believe. Except they're taking a very long... Okay, nope, they're actually going after Azuros' Tech 2 mechs, but not going to be able to finish them off, only committing 1 or 2 Tech 2 bombers to each mechs. So now the interceptors are going to be on top of them, and the fighter bombers now will die because they cannot fight, they can only bomb. Fighter bombers do not bomb. I take that back. They did grab 1 Tech 2 mechs. That'll be rebuilt by Azuros, though. So we go back to the front line as Azuros and Zoom. Now a little bit on the back foot. Well, I mean, not really. They're kind of just skirmishing now with Nightly's Tech 2 units. Azuros also has Tech 2 on the field, as well as Freshly's gun comm. Nobody's going to die in this engagement, though, I don't think. Both Zoom and Azuros in pretty good health. Both of them have gun upgrade. They should be just fine there. Up towards the north, we do have Rye guys going for Tech 2, so looking to do a little bit of that UEF turtling, which I can't say that I blame him. Whenever you're up against the 1900, probably want to throw down some point defense. And down at the other side of the map, Doc Kobasa once again losing his forward position after he has rebuilt it. Which, you know, it sucks. You know, it's kind of like building an operating system specifically to record a video on Forge Alliance Forever for Linux and then having that operating system self-implode because the updater doesn't work on its own. And it's the built-in updater and it doesn't read the repositories correctly and then borks your own OS from the inside out. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that. Remember, I'm not mad. You're mad about my Linux distributions not working. It's not like I even have a weird... It's not like I have some fringe installation here. It's a WD NVMe drive. It's a 10700K and an RTX 2080. All like secondhand parts that I picked up. It's not like... This is not weird parts that we're talking about. It's not like I'm trying to install this to like a Qualcomm chipset in a phone. Like, this is just your regular, like, x64 install, and the update, for whatever reason, doesn't work. But again, remember, I'm not mad, you're mad. Well, the other person who's mad is Lasauce right now, as he is getting beaten into. Thurnis with the stealth upgrade, faring a little bit better. And that's actually a attempted snipe there. Well, 2 attempted snipes. Now we have Stingers on top of Thurnis. Thurnis getting properly stung there. Stingers now moving off and then going back in. So it's a little bit of a pump fake. There is flak, though, in the mix here for Thurnis. So Thurnis should be just fine. Somebody does get ejected down here, and that's going to be Nightly. Who I'm guessing was just a little bit too far forward and got caught by Azuros. Might have been trying to square off because Freshly was in tow. But Azuros is going to make it out just fine. Nightly, not a team member that Team 2 wants to lose. Zoom also died somewhere in this whole interchange. I'm assuming both of them died. Okay, so 1800 for 1700. So not a bad trade. It might have honestly been a mutual from one or the other. But either way, Azuros is now going to inherit Zoom's base. As he is now taking on Freshy, and Freshy is inherited Nightly's base, which is the way of things now in FAF with everybody playing full share. I've seen people complain about full share. If you've got a no share game, that you have played that is good, that has like back and forth in it, send it my way, man. Like, I'm more than happy to cast it. What I honestly don't care about is whenever you get into the comments complaining about the fact that, you know, all the games are played as no share. All the games are played as full share. That's what I meant, not no share. Meanwhile, Signal Runner has found himself out here on a little bit of an island. Does have a couple of Tech 2 PD back here that he could retreat to. Tech 2 units out of Azuros are just going to go ahead and rush that position with a Percival in tow. Percival is going to soak up a lot of the Tech 2 PD damage. So Tech 2 PD are going to, by default, attack Percivals, and they're going to apparently attack mobile shield generators. But that's going to allow the Blazes to run in, do some damage while the Percival tanks a lot of the damage out there until Signal Runner comes in with his commander. So, talk a little bit about what Azuros just did there, because it was abusing target priorities in the game. So, Tech 2 point defense have like an array of, or a list of units that they target first. So usually, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but usually they target artillery first, and then mobile missile launchers, and then they go via the tech of the unit that is attacking them. So because there was a single Percival pushing this base that had Tech 2 point defense in it, those Tech 2 point defense then focused on the Percival, and the Percival is more than able to soak up that damage. That allowed the Blazes from Azuros to then go in and provide a lot of damage to the base and then take it out. So abusing some of the target priorities because Signal Runner was not microing those point defense. Those point defense then wasted all of their shots on a unit that was more than able to take that damage. So kind of an interesting interaction there in FAF. There are ways that you can override it with mods. I think the only one that I know of is advanced target priorities, which is where you can like set your own target priorities. It's kind of difficult to use, at least from what I saw, but does exist. It is an actual mod out there. As Thurnis doing what I was talking about earlier, taking a brick right through that pond. With a ton of labs and Tech 1 tanks in tow. Maybe grab himself a couple of mexes at the very least. He's going to cause a hell of a lot of a problem for Rye guys to, you know, hunt this unit down. This is, I think, one of the most interesting things happening on the map, which is, you know, kind of indicative of the lull that we're in. Everybody take a deep breath. Everything is fine. You're fine. I'm fine. My Linux computer is just fine. As we have a push now coming in from Thurnis with a much healthier contingent of Tech 3 units. Zeros going for a shield upgrade on his commander. Gonna lose the Tech 1 PD there from, well, this is now, the wall sections are owned by Zoom, but Zoom is no longer there, so that's Azuros losing the Tech 1 PD. Also gonna lose the Tech 2 mechs. Not the end of the world though for Azuros. Azuros working with, what are we at? 176, 177 mass income for him. Not a bad overall rating. Chip leader for the game, though, is It's Coming Home. And I feel like It's Coming Home has been a chip leader multiple times now. Even though he's only on one base, he's working with 260 income right now. I think I remember him being chip leader from an income perspective last game as well. So we'll see what he ends up doing with this. Right now, he's just getting a lot of power and then getting, I'm guessing, Tech 3 land, which, man, he went full eco. This was 100% eco player right here. Just absolutely zero shits about his teammates. We did see a couple of fighter bomber attacks coming out from him a little bit earlier, but it looks like by and large he is focused entirely on eco. And it's done well for him. 300 mass income right now. Top of the charts by over 100. And, you know, I would expect to see that reflected in the overall mass income. Yeah, so Team 2 pulling in about 1.1k mass income per second. Team 1 at about 900-ish. Total mass income, 650k almost for Team 2, 575 there for Team 1. So huge disparity of about 75k for Team 2, and I would think that a lot of it is because of It's Coming Home focusing almost entirely on eco. Freshie pushing a little bit forward. Probably going to be pretty inconsequential. He's going to be able to get out. Snoog going for shield heavy on his Aeon commander. And I mean, I think right now everybody is just kind of settling into the... right about 20 minutes or so, everybody kind of settles down, I feel like, in games. You know, there's kind of the cadence of FAF. And at about 20 minutes, you might have the odd skirmish or so. Like here, Azuros is pushing a little bit, but it's nowhere near just kind of the widespread combat that we saw kind of all down the middle section here across the board. If I can remember how to do the... I don't remember how to do the line. But earlier on in the game, we saw just kind of widespread combat all the way down the middle. And right as I say that, you know, widespread combat breaks out. Freshie in actually huge trouble here. Gonna get taken out by the bricks from Nasimka. That is a valuable player to bag there for team number 1. Even though that ends up going to Thurnis, Thurnis immediately transfers it over to It's Coming Home. Thurnis does not want additional things to deal with, apparently, and It's Coming Home is now the It's Getting Rich player, as he's now almost 600 mass income per second, because he's got 3 bases now. Drops the first Ethoda. Immediately goes to work on a second Ethoda, and this is what that eco can do for you. I don't know if does Team 1 have any experimentals or experimentals even in the works? Okay, first GC underway there from Snoog, as Ryguy's base is just getting positively leveled here, which is unfortunate. His commander is running to the south. He went for Navy, so he deserves to have his base be leveled, because any person that's going to go Navy on a map like this deserves to lose, in my opinion. We get some hot takes from me today. Yeah, very hot takes. Oh, man. Nasimka continuing to push in. It's Coming Home, trying to respond with point defense. Probably got enough PD here to, in conjunction with the Whaler, maybe make the bricks think about doing something else. Or not. Yeah, they're just going to crush that. So this would be Knightley's old base, I believe, that is now getting leveled by Nasimka. Similarly, up at the top, we have Thurnis clawing at the soft underbelly that is Team 1's team. Point defense getting thrown down by Snoog to respond. But that GC might not finish. It depends on what the bricks target. they could just remove this GC from the game, and that would be a huge amount of mass that Nuke has sunk into that for no benefit. Thurnus instead wants to try and focus on auto-targeting his units. So they're going after the Harbs. The Harbs, some of them are going to go down. And then going after the point defense. And that's about it. Did get... Well, I was going to say a couple mexes, but I don't think he got any mexes. I think he just lost a bunch of bricks and deposited a bunch of reclaim. So that doesn't feel great. The push down here for Nasimka is probably going to go similarly. Similar amounts of Tech 2 PD. We also have whalers in the mix out from La Sauce. Yeah. All right, so both of the edge players able to effectively annihilate a base, and then they stall out whenever it gets to kind of the middle section of the team. Even though it's coming from the back, you know, the back of the midsection. You know, I mean, you can have something really hard and try and go in from the back, but sometimes it doesn't always work. The first chicken out from It's Coming Home. Gonna get surrounded by a lot of Percivals, and does not look like it's gonna really be able to get out of there. Zeros did lose some units in that push, or in that defense. I don't know. Do you call that a push or a defense? I guess it could be either at that point. Another Ithoda now done by It's Coming Home, and then we had another experimental notification that I'm not quite sure where it was. I'm sure it'll turn up eventually. Somewhere. But Thurnus is going to mop up a little bit of the stragglers up here from his initial run by with some bricks. Nothing too concerning there for either team. Getting some scouting out. We got some air units that are doing air unit things. And you know, it's a good time to just zoom out and take stock of what is happening on the battlefield. Dol Kolbasa, or Dot Kolbasa, still in this game down here. Now one of the lower rated players in the game. Astro Hub still in, who I might not have even introduced. I might have forgotten. I don't remember saying Astro Hub at the very beginning. I might have completely forgotten to introduce him. If that's true, and Astro Hub, you're watching this, I'm very sorry. But also, you know, I don't really care that much. So, you know, I introduced you now. If that makes it any better. There's probably the other experimental that we were seeing, Monkey Lord out of La Sauce. Thurnus seems to have lost a good amount of territory up in the north. Might have been a run by from Azuros. And Nasimka down in the south has not really been able to capitalize on any of his pushes. So it seems to be a good time to check in on Eco. Yeah, let's check in on Eco. Mass income for Team 1, 1.4K to 1.3K. So Team 1 has drastically improved their ability to fight in this game and has now overtaken Team 2 in total mass acquired by about 600,000. And by 600,000, I mean 60,000, not 600,000. 1.38 to 1.32 million total mass accrued. Your chip leader is now Azuros, sitting on 3 bases at 620 mass income. It's Coming Home has now fallen back to 475 mass income, having lost Nightly's base down here from Nasimka's raid. So this little Nasimka whole action that he went through here seems to have done significantly more damage actually to Team 2 from an eco perspective than Thurnus' attack in the north did. Because if you think about it, Nasimka is gutting a base that is owned by one of the heavyweights for Team 2, while Thurnis was taking out essentially, I don't want to call Rye Guys like a useless player at this point, but he's kind of a useless player because he effectively went Navy and now has cruisers on a map that is, you know, largely dominated by land. So, you know, I'll let you guys draw from that what you will, but it's not a good move. So anyway, like I was saying, eco impact for Team 2 is much greater than it was for Team 1, and Azuros is now kind of running away with the economy here as it, the lead for total mass income has now stretched to about 100 mass income per second between the two different teams, and that is going to continue to be exacerbated, not exasperated, unless this coalition between Thurnis and It's Coming Home can put something together here. We have a GC that has just come off of the line there for Azuros. 2 more are inbound from the north. We have 2 Monkey Lords and 2 chickens. The 2 chickens are idling. So the Monkey Lords from Thurnis getting hung out to dry a little bit. They do have bricks in support. This first GC should be an easy takedown. Broadswords now coming in from Astra Hub. Gonna help things out as well. Another GC. Did that GC just get finished? Wow, that was a quick build time there. But first chicken now goes down for It's Coming Home. Second one, not really able to put anything together either. All 3 of these Galactic Colossus looking very healthy. I think they were only able to take out one of the GCs. Actually, there is one that's looking quite unhealthy. I think due to some friendly fire from the satellite out of Astra Hub, as well as the ion storms. So that push, not going to be anything to write home about, because that push is not coming home. Unlike, you know, It's Coming Home. That push is not coming home. Thank you very much. I'll be here all week. Gunships also out from Lasauce, taking out some Tech 3 mexes from Azuros. So, you know, good use of gunships. It's one of the things that I struggle with most as an air player is once you get air superiority, what do you do there? What do you do then? And it's always hard for me to figure out, okay, It's Coming Home gets defeated by Control K. The game lies to you sometimes on whether it's Control K or not. As Thurnis might have also gotten defeated by Control K here. Okay, Thurnis also apparently has given up. Alright, well, you know, them's the breaks, I guess. They had something to go to. Somehow, Rye Guys has ended up with a naval factory in this pond. I don't know how this happened, but it did. And alright, maybe the naval strategy is not as dumb as I said earlier. Except it is still really dumb. Because these bricks are going to be able to clear all of this out, or they should be able to. At least I think they'll be able to. We'll see. Either way, it should be pretty easy there for Lasauce to be able to clear that out. And now it comes down to, I mean, I guess it's the Azuros show as the only one that is, you know, 2,000 rated in the game. So, you know, we'll see how Lasauce and everybody else can hold on. Multiple GCs getting gunned down here in the west, or the east, I guess. A couple of chickens, 3 chickens actually, coming out now from Signal Runner. Going to be able to bag themselves 3 different Galactic Colossus here out of Azuros. Those are the ones that we saw earlier just fend off an invasion. So that's going to be some pretty healthy reclaim there for Signal Runner to take advantage of. Hopefully we'll see the Signal Runner going to be producing engineers out of this factory. Some engineers. They're all Tech 3. None of them are reclaiming, though. I'm sure they will, though. Strat Bomber's also out from La Sauce. We haven't really talked a ton about air because it's been kind of inconsequential in this game. Like, you've had the odd gunship show up now and then. But there haven't been, like, any game-breaking plays, I think, from an air perspective. We got a lot of stingers out here from Caillou. I don't know why he's going for stingers, or maybe this was an old repeat order that just kind of got left on build, and now he needs to figure out something to do with them. The strats are now getting tasked to clear out this naval base up here. And that is going to be it for ye old naval base. A couple of torpedo launchers, a sonar, etc. Not a huge deal. 3 chickens are now walking into a bar of point defense. There is a fat boy sitting back here that does not want to engage them directly, but would rather just kind of, you know, sit in the background and use harsh language and racial slurs instead of, you know, going up and, you know, fighting hand to hand. So it decides it wants to go up and fight hand to hand. I don't know though. Have you ever tried to fight a chicken? Like they got nasty talons, man, and that beak. Ooh, boy, that beak is something. So yeah, Fat Boy has heard of the beak and heard of the talons. Gonna start moving away. GC does show up, so Big Brother has now showed up to, you know, take the heat off of the little fat boys that are getting bullied by the chickens. Except the GC sees the second chicken and is like, I don't want any piece of that either. That beak is much bigger and much sharper. Nuke gets fired off from, who is that out of? Nasimka, I believe. And it is going after Dots Kolbasa. And we'll check in on that nuke a little bit later after we see the chickens continuing to get pulverized by the harsh language out of these obese children back here. Because yeah, I mean, if you can't beat somebody face to face, then sit on Twitter and write a bunch of nasty things. Why don't you? Got another Monkey Lord and another chicken coming up. You can also sit in the YouTube comments if you want. If you don't like Twitter, you can sit in the YouTube comments as well. Those are coming up. One is going to get into range, start firing at these fat boys. They're going to be retreating to the water. This one is going to be able to make it out just barely. Third fat boy coming up. Man, we got a whole family here of fat children showing up here in this pond. This chicken also very damaged. And this is the problem with pushing into UEF. It just becomes like so untenably difficult whenever there's a whole family out here that is just yelling at you with harsh language from a long distance away and you can't even get close to them to do anything about it. Soul Ripper also comes out for Nasimka to kind of finish the job. These guys going in on Astro Hub space though. And Signal Runner going to take that chicken back, but yeah, it's not really worth it to turn around at this point. You know, it's very worth it to just, I think at this point, just take out the HQ, bag all of the mexes. Yeah, not really worth it to just sit out there, and Astro Hub actually gets defeated by Control K up there. Strayed a little bit too close to the sun, that one did. Eco check. Got about a 113k mass lead, or 130k mass lead there for team number 1 now. So Eco is not looking any better for Team 2. Now we have 2 megaliths pushing in on the GCs. Megaliths pretty good at pushing fat boys because you know, they can take the harsh language and just kind of keep moving. There are some broadswords though coming in. That's going to be a little bit more annoying for the megaliths to deal with. And the rest of the family of children coming in from everywhere. Boy, man, Azuros rang the dinner bell, baby, and all the fat children are coming out from the woodworks, man. He's got 5 different fat boys here. Cranking out the harsh language on these crabs. There's something going on over here for Nasimka, if you can see it on the mini-map. I'll head over there in 1 second. It's just as soon as we see the, you know, crabs get beaten by obesity. Yeah, over on the other side of the map, we have another crab. Looks like there was a chicken that got taken out here. That is going to send Nasimka into a little bit of a retreat. Got lots of experimental wreckages down here as well that also need to be vacuumed up. Boy, just insane amounts of mass on this map. I need to get I need to message strategic launch, see what reclaim mod he uses, because my reclaim mod broke several years ago. That is not stopping, though, Signal Runner and Lasauce from trying here. I mean, they are doing their damnedest. They are under constant satellite fire from Azuros as well as artillery fire. I didn't even realize there was artillery. Where is that artillery? It is somewhere. There it is. Got the Duke right there, cranking out shells. Right into Signal Runner's base. Signal Runner's shields failed. He ends up bowing out of the game. I mean, that might actually be it there for Team 2. Unless Lasauce can put together a le plan and le execute on said plan. But I don't know. If he's anything like me, he's probably massively overwhelmed with, you know, just the amount of stuff that he has to do. Like, you gotta be reclaiming, you gotta be upgrading mexes, you gotta be, like, double capping mexes like this. It looks like he is building a bug. Also trying to do his own production, but the satellites are now inbound. And they are going up against the lower tier Cybran ED4, not the ED5 shields. Remember, kids, if you want your Cybran shields to perform their best, you got to upgrade them after you build them, even at Tech 3. There is another upgrade level called the ED5 that does kind of bring them in line. They're still pretty much the worst shields in the game, but it does bring them in line with, I think, UEF. But that's going to be shields failed there for Les Sauce. The family is now pushing in. There's a chicken that the family is hungry for. There's a crab as well and another chicken. This family, very hungry. We got dad and 5 kids here that are all looking for chicken and crabs, which is an interesting, that's an interesting combo in dishes. I don't think I usually go to a restaurant and it's like, hello, sir, would you like chicken and Alaskan crab? I don't think that's usually a combo most places go for it. But I mean, with rising food prices, you know, going for 3 chickens and 1 crab, you know, it's something I would do if I was a restaurant owner. You gotta maximize that that return on investment. You gotta minimize that expense. completely get it. Little air engagement over here. Nasimka looks to be absolutely demolishing Lasauce. Because Lasauce is currently draping the sauce on his own main course that is about to get eaten up by this whole family down here. As the last chicken goes down, and now it's only the crab, which is the highest value ingredient. Chicken you can get at any grocery store. Crab, though, much more difficult to come by, as the fat children now close in on their prize, not worried about the ceramic obstacles that sit in their paths. Yeah, the crab is going to go down. The bricks are going to go down. Yep. 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 Caillou hasn't even really been playing air this game, I feel like. As he's gone like full Tech 1 land spam. Artillery looks to have shifted over to Doc Kolbasa's base. I don't know if, you know, Azuros is... I don't know if Azuros is from Texas and is really unhappy about the fact that they said that this is a Kolbasa instead of a Kolache, because, you know, if you're from Texas, you know, it's a long-standing debate between the Czechs that came to Texas and say that things are Kolbasas or Kilbasas, I believe, and all us Texans just call everything Kolaches because, you know, we're Texans. But yeah, I believe Kloboznik. Kloboznik is a kolache that has meat in it. A kolache is actually not something that has meat in it. I believe it is just a fruit pastry. And a kloboznik is a, if I remember correctly, it's got like sausage and sauerkraut. You dip it in mustard. It's good. It's good shit. That looked to be a Billy Nuke. As I'm talking about, you know, Texas German pastries, and I'm like, oh, by the way, there's a nuke that just landed on this base. Up at the top, 2 bugs are all over Lasauce's base as the satellites have already decimated the shielding. The family still down here at the bottom, closing in. You know, I'm so conflicted as to what I'm going to call this cast. You guys will see it in the thumbnail, but I want to call this the cast like the I'm just angry at Linux cast. Like, I'm thinking about just throwing that in the thumbnail. I'm also kind of thinking about putting the, you know, Vin Diesel, like it's all about family kind of thing in the thumbnail. I don't know. I'm conflicted. So let me know down in the comments, whatever thumbnail I end up going with. Let me know which one, whether you like the thumbnail that I went, or do you think that I should have done the other one? Maybe I'll change it, because apparently that's a really good way to game the YouTube algorithm, is to change your thumbnail like a couple hours after it's been uploaded. But either way, Lasauce.Kolbasa, which actually I don't even know. I was talking about Klobachis, I was talking about Kolaches, Klobozniks, and Kilbasa, but I actually completely forgot that this guy's name is .Kolbasa, not even Kilbasa. I don't know what Kolbasa is. So yeah, answer me that one in the comments below as well. I'm not familiar with that particular, if it is a dish. I'm assuming it's a sausage-based dish. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much for watching the cast. If you guys have made it this far through all my rantings about Linux and kolaches and my memes about family and about taking the chickens from behind and everything like that. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this, make sure to drop it a like and subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.